Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, the village of Lake Orion hired a familiar face, and a fire destroys a home in Lake Villa, and a lawsuit is filed against Oxford Village representatives.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Village Manager Joe Young will be leaving this village at the end of March, but he won't be going too far. Young just signed a contract for Village Manager for Lake Orion. Orion received 9 resumes for the manager's post, but Young appeared to have the most experience. Without discussion, last month, the Oxford Village Council voted not to continue Joe Young's contract. Lake Orion's Village Council felt Young led the other applicants with a wealth of financial audit and other government work experience. He didn't hurt that Lake Orion and Oxford villages have been working closely on several matters for several years. Joe Young will start his new job in April.
Fire inside a Lake Villa manufactured home resulted in nearly $12,000 in damages. Fire Chief Pete Schultz says the fire may have been caused by a smoldering ashtray on the front porch. A husband, wife, and their small children were able to escape the fire unharmed. The investigation continues.
A legal suit was filed against Oxford Village President Sue Bassardet, Village Attorney Bob Davis, and current Village Manager Joe Young and Interim Police Chief Mike Sowald. The case was filed by Bruce Myers, Kelly Rosner Myers, and Eugenia Colocasides. The plaintiff cites a violation of the First Amendment rights and disregard for conduct and procedures occurring during a village meeting on January 10, 2017. According to the suit, at the meeting, the trio's authorization to represent Oxford as a village police reservist in a newly formed horse-mounted division was challenged. The three believe they were verbally mistreated by council members and leaders, causing harm to the plaintiff's reputation, good name, honor, and integrity. In a statement from the village attorney, Bob Davis, who quotes, "The allegations defined in the lawsuit are unjustified, and at this time the village does not see any merit in this case. Plaintiffs are suing the elected officials not only in their capacity as village officials, but personally as well." Davis also stated that the plaintiffs complained they asked the council for a name-clearing hearing, but under the law, the hearing process applies only to employees who are terminated and stigmatized at a public hearing. Davis said these plaintiffs have never been hired or sworn in as reserve officers for the Village of Oxford. In addition, plaintiffs have requested a jury trial. We'll keep you informed of the story as it unfolds.
The Downtown Development Authority again has hired a Northville-based Grissom, Metz, and Reese Associates to design a new streetscape plan and to apply for grant money to pay for the construction. The overall streetscape project to improve the downtown district will cost over $1 million when finally completed. The board is hoping to time the project to correspond with the MDOT's plan to reconstruct M24 in 2019. There is currently an M24 task force of Oxford business people, contractors, elected officials, bankers, and local citizens on a special committee. You will be hearing more from OCTV as this huge project progresses.
If you are a senior citizen at Oxford and would like help to clean your yard, rake, mulch, or plant flowers this spring, Jacinta Hogan would like you to know that she has volunteers who provide an outreach program where people help people. And that just might be you. Last year, her group did 32 homes. This year, she predicts volunteers will help over 125 residents. Hogan is always looking for volunteers, so if you would like to join her, you can do so by signing up at www.oxfordgivesback.com.
The Oxford Township Board agreed to finance the purchase of over 5 acres of land to add to the Seymour Lake Park. Parks and Recs Director Ron Davis requested over $120,000 at 3% interest for 5 years, which Treasurer Joe Ferrari commented was an interest far better than the township could have realized if they were to go to a regular financial institution. Congratulations, Ron.
Last week, Oxford Middle School students received a first-hand living history lesson of one of the worst atrocities in world history. Holocaust survivor Emma Gorman gave a first-hand account of the pain as the youngest of 2 sisters whose father was a Jewish immigrant from Poland. Her mother was born in the Ukraine in an Orthodox home. The family settled in Metz, France, but prior to the World War II, while attending a relative's wedding in Poland, the whole family ended up trapped when the German army marched in. To learn more, there is a complete story in the latest edition of the Leader newspaper. Check it out.
This is a reminder to everyone that vandalism of mailboxes is a federal offense and the offenders can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Having said that, it's that time of year again when joyriders entertain themselves by smashing mailboxes on the side of the road. Officers were called to a Coates Road home for that very scenario. At least 6 boxes on that street were damaged, so please pay attention to any cars that might seem out of the ordinary in your neighborhood, and if you know anyone who's blasting boxes, please report them to the local police. That's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper and stop bashing the boxes. You can catch us right here at OCTV Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Yeah. And coming up next on OCTV, catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. And filling in for Jamie Hughes is Cody Wright with your Oxford Sports. And you don't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, in a mysterious change to their normal behavior, humpback whales are forming massive groups of up to 200 animals. Humpbacks aren't normally considered to be terribly social. They are mostly found alone in pairs or sometimes in small groups that disband quickly. But research crews have spotted strange new social behavior on 3 separate cruises in 2011, 14, and 15, as well as a handful of public observations from aircraft. These supergroups of up to 200 were spotted feeding intensively off the southwestern coast of South Africa, thousands of kilometers further north from their typical feeding grounds in the polar waters of the Antarctic. Humpbacks mostly spend the summer in the polar regions of the Antarctic, where the whales chow down on krill and build up fat stores. And winters are spent in the warmer waters of tropical and subtropical latitudes, where female whales give birth and nurse new calves. What has led to such a drastic change in whale behavior? Well, we don't know for sure yet. I've never seen anything like this, says Ken Findlay, lead author of the study from Cape Peninsula University of Technology in South Africa. The whales could be shifting their behavior in response to changes in available prey. Humpback whales were found feeding in this area off the southwest Cape coast of South Africa once before, nearly a century ago, but whaling has reduced their numbers by around 90%. So it could be that this is a restoration of their natural behavior as increasing populations reestablish to more natural levels. The humpback whale population has seen an unexplained resurgence in recent years, and for the last few decades, suddenly they seem to have overcome some threshold and have begun to increase very fast, says one of the researchers. With greater numbers, who knows what interesting behaviors will happen upon next. In our next story, Steady does it. A video analysis system uses motion tracking and machine learning to rate how good surgeons are at suturing wounds. Different surgeons all have different styles of suturing, says Anik Zia of the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta. His team filmed 41 surgeons and nurses practicing suturing and knot tying on foam boards, and a clinician then rated each person. A machine learning algorithm used these scores to learn which features were highly rated. It found that the best clinicians moved their hands in a similar way with every stitch. Those with lower scores moved less predictably. The system then gave the videos its own rating. It matched the clinician's assessments with an accuracy of 93.2%. Zia hopes the system could give trainee surgeons useful feedback as they hone their skills. And back on the medical front, tiny particles secreted in response to head injury in the brains of mice could help explain how inflammation spreads and ultimately boost the risk of developing dementia. Head injuries are increasingly being linked to cognitive problems and degenerative brain disease in later life. Mysterious particles, a micrometer in diameter, have previously been found in the spinal fluid of people with traumatic brain injury, but their function has remained unknown. Now, Alan Fadden at the University of Maryland School of Medicine in Baltimore and his colleagues have discovered that activated immune cells called microglia secrete such microparticles in response to brain injury, and they seem to spread inflammation well beyond the site injury itself. They can even cause brain inflammation when injected into uninjured animals. These particles have receptors that latch onto cells and are packed with chemicals such as interleukins, which trigger inflammation, and fragments of RNA capable of switching whole suites of genes on and off. When Fadden injured the brains of sedated mice, the microparticles spread well beyond the site of damage. Further experiments on cultured microglial cells reveals that the microparticles activate resting microglia, making them capable of triggering further inflammation themselves. Indeed, when Fadden injected microparticles from injured animals into the brains of uninjured animals, they propagated inflammation. This didn't happen when microparticles from uninjured mice were injected. The effect of these particles in driving inflammation, even in animals without traumatic brain injury, is convincing, says Marie-Eve Tremblay of the Laval University in Quebec, Canada, who last year discovered unusual microglia that could be linked with dementia. She thinks microglia might secrete other particles too, and I wonder if they might be counterbalanced by anti-inflammatory and pro-repair effects of other microparticle subsets, she says. One of Fadden's co-authors, Stephen Tom, has already developed an agent that might work against these microparticles. Called PEG-TV, it neutralizes the capacity of microparticles to trigger inflammation by causing them to fall apart. Experiments in pigs have shown that PEG-TV reduces the degree of inflammation resulting from traumatic brain injuries, and it shows that in principle, the concept of neutralizing them could be effective, says Fadden. More to come. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Welcome to American Legion in Oxford for the best fish on Fridays. That's right, from noon to 8:30. You can get the best walleye in Michigan. You can get walleye, baked cod, chicken strips, baked potatoes, and more. On the hall side of the Legion, oh, hello there, friends. You can have 12 friends on a table, any one of the best military museums in Michigan. And the dining side, oh, hello again. More comfortable with many 4-seat tables and a couple of 5-seaters. Now on Friday, we usually have about 400 to 500 of best friends for our fish. Carry out? You bet. We have 50 to 60 carryouts at the post. We have some young fins with the birthdays and some of our best seniors at the post. Oh yeah, waitresses, they go like a track waitress to get your food. If you have never enjoyed our secret famous walleye at the Legion, come on in every Friday from noon to 8:30 at the American Legion Post 108 on 130 East Rainer Road, Oxford.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. Some festivals going on around our district. Here's Principal Christy Gibson Marshall out at Lakeville Elementary.
We used to call it the Spring Fair, but now it's our Lakeville Fest. And our Lakeville Fest has activities going on all throughout the building. So we have businesses all throughout the building doing fun activities with kids. We have our PSC, our Parent School Council, doing tons of activities with the kiddos. We have blow pop-ups. We have silent auction. It's just a really fun time for the kids. They get to run around the school and have a great time. So tell me what you think of Lakeville Fest.
It's really fun because we get to like run around and we get like a bunch of free stuff, and we get to meet all the companies in Oxford. And
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So do you think that you'd go back to those companies since you?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like there was this one like puzzle place that I really didn't know about. Now I might go to it maybe.
Very cool. What's your favorite thing?
I like decorating the cookies in the bake walk.
Ah, decorating cookies and bake walk. Got it.
Same.
I really want to thank all the businesses that took part and made this a fun activity for our kids. So that was awesome.
Barbara Mussey is the president of the PSC out at Lakeville.
We started planning the Lakeville Fest at the end of the year, and then we put it together and start contacting our auction donors and our community partners to participate starting mid-January.
Oh, great. And how many school businesses and organizations are here tonight?
We have over 20 community businesses here to do different activities for the kids, and we have over 50 different community donors that donated items for our silent auction.
How much do you hope to raise in the whole event?
Through the whole event, we hope to raise about $3,000.
And where does that go? How's that spent?
All the proceeds from our Lakeville Fest goes back into our school to help support our teacher fund, improve our classrooms, our playgrounds, and other activities for the kids.
At the high school, Winterfest will be wrapped up pretty soon. Katie Getz is the teacher in charge.
Well, Winterfest is homecoming in the winter. So we have, on a smaller scale, we have events that students earn spirit points for, just like in homecoming. We nominate students to be on our Winterfest court, then we vote for Winterfest court, and on the third week we vote for king and queen, just like we do at homecoming. We use an online service called Election Runner, so it's real great. It gets sent over to the students' emails. They are able to vote right off of their phones. And this year we did a great job. We got over 50% of the student body voting, which is phenomenal. So what we've done with Winterfest Week is we've included usually a charity week type event where we try and raise money for an organization. And this year we chose to work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Michigan. And so we've planned several different activities. We did call it Wish Week, but we've kind of turned it into Wish Month to spread out our events. So we started out with a volleyball tournament for the boys called Power Tough, where the students were able to make $155 at the door for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And then we did a minute bucket run through the stands during the Paws Assembly last week. Paws is the Special Olympics basketball team where we verse Lake Orion every year. And we made just over $355 in that minute. And then we have our Mr. Oxford competition.
Katie tells us more about this event.
First, and each of the students in this male competition were asked to raise $100 individually. We set our goal in leadership to raise $3,000, and we're pretty close to that mark right now. The week of March 27th is the last event that we will do, and then our last week will be silent auctions and carnival games in the cafeteria to raise some more money.
The king and queen of this year's Winterfest are Ray Luvine and Caitlin Romano. You are probably aware that the Aqua Swim Club has a location here at our high school and manages a world-class swimming program. Their leader, Nim Shapira, and coach Mike Kavanaugh stopped by to talk about their program.
For us, right from the get-go, knowing that fact, it's always been our goal to keep the kids engaged, keep the parents engaged, make sure that they have fun. You know, swimming, I'm not gonna lie to anyone, it's not the most exciting sport if you swim for 3-4 hours a day and you see the black line and you go up and down the lane line. You gotta make it very engaging, you gotta make it very fun, and I don't want to brag that we are the only one, but we are one of the only programs that attacking that issue right on the point. We try to get every single opportunity to keep it engaged and fun for the swimmers and the parents. The parents are part of that circle. The parents see the kids more than we see the kids. So if the parents are not engaged or not getting enough communication or not having fun in the process, the kid might stop their activity because of the parent not being engaged enough. So bringing the superstars, connecting the kids to, we brought Olympic gold medalists, we brought world record holder, we brought American record holders into town, into Oxford. I mean, there aren't any teams in Michigan that can say that they do that, let alone other teams in the country.
They have swimming programs for babies through adults. That's the school update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Hello Oxford fans, Cody Wright here with the Sports Report. Short report this week, just want to recap on the winter season as well as look at the upcoming spring and what it holds for you sports fans. Boys basketball was hot this year. All three teams finished with winning records. Varsity 16-4, JV 12-7, and freshmen 10-9. Girls basketball had a bit of a struggle. JV did, however, end with a winning record of 10-7. However, varsity and freshmen both fell below 500. Varsity 8-14, freshmen 3-12. Our bowling program, in my opinion, was the most successful. The boys' record ending at 10-2, finishing the season in second place. The girls' bowling team record was 9-2, finishing in first place in the OAA. So whatever the coaches and athletes have going on, it's working. And speaking of first place finishes, the competitive cheer varsity girls also finished first place in the OAA. Boys swim and dive battled on and off this season, finishing with an official meet record of 3-3. They weren't dominant, however, they were not dominated. Looks like in the next few years we are going to have a strong team in the pool. Our hockey club, which is a combination of Oxford and Avondale, really started to take shape this season. It was a whole new team on the ice from last year, and Coach Henze has now got the boys playing as a team and playing with confidence. And lastly, our Varsity A wrestling team finished this season with a record of 6-2-2. We did have a number of wrestlers go to the individuals, which were announced in last week's segment. So if you missed it, check it out. Well, it's been a good winter, and I know we have enjoyed it, but warm weather is around the corner, along with a set of new sports and athletes, although I'm sure we will be seeing some familiar faces. Baseball, softball, golf, track and field, tennis, girls soccer, and lacrosse are our spring sports, so we're looking forward to it. If you want to check out when exactly these spring events start, you can find a schedule at oxfordathletics.org, along with team details and more. If you missed any winter details that you wish to find out, you can also find that information at oxfordathletics.org, or you can go to take a look at our past sportscasts, which can be watched on our YouTube page. You can access through our YouTube page through our website at occtv.org. We appreciate all of your support, and we enjoy bringing you your community news. Again, that's occtv.org. Well, that should wrap things up for this week, and it was a short one, but pretty soon here we'll have plenty to talk about. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. I'm Cody Wright. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Israel's emergence as a center for automotive technology got a vote of confidence on March 13th when Intel Corporation said it would pay $14.7 billion for Mobileye, a Jerusalem-based maker of chips and software for driverless cars. It will be the largest takeover of an Israeli tech firm and follows a series of deals and partnerships inked in recent years by major tech and auto companies. The deal proves in a dramatic manner that our vision is coming true. Israel is becoming a global technology center, not only in cyber but also in the automotive area, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a text message. Israel has already singled out the automotive technology sector as a possible economic boon, allotting it 250 million shekels, that's $68 million, for the next 5 years. At least 5 major car manufacturers have made investments in Israel. Ford Motor Company bought computer vision and machine learning company SAIPS-AC in August, and BMW invested in transit app MoveIt in 2015. Daimler AG and General Motors have opened R&D centers in the country. Israel is not renowned for its car-making industry, once turning out fiberglass shell cars that were briefly popular in Israel in the 1960s and 1970s. However, the country is now benefiting from the automobile industry's increasing focus on software rather than hardware. And at Buick, General Motors plans to replace the Buick Regal sedan in the United States with a sedan-style 5-door hatchback and Buick's first wagon in 2 decades, according to 2 auto forecast firms, that is. The new Regal models are expected to be rebadged versions of Opel's Insignia Grand Sport hatchback and Insignia Sports Tourer wagon, which were showcased 2 weeks ago at the Geneva Auto Show. Cutting the Regal sedan is an aggressive move for Buick, but not surprising given the market shift from cars to higher riding and more spacious crossovers and SUVs. U.S. sales of midsize sedans have dropped for 2 consecutive years, and the segment is off 20% in the first 2 months of 2017. A hatchback provides the styling of a sedan, but some of the storage capacity and flexibility of a crossover, which accounted for nearly 2/3 of Buick's 229,630 U.S. sales in 2016. GM most recently hinted at plans to develop a hatchback with sedan styling when it introduced the 5-door Cadillac Escala concept car in August. The 2018 Buick Regal is scheduled to make its global debut on April 4th at GM's Warren Technical Center in suburban Detroit, a week ahead of its first auto show appearance in New York, alongside the redesigned Buick Enclave crossover. Buick spokesman Stuart Fowle declined to comment on the body types planned for the next generation Regal, which has been a midsize sedan since the automaker resurrected the nameplate in 2010. LMC Automotive and Auto Forecast Solutions expect the hatchback and wagon versions of the Regal to be built at Opel's Rüsselsheim factory in Germany and imported to the U.S. A sedan version of the next Regal is expected to be produced in China for that market, but is not to be exported to the U.S. or Europe. It is expected to be introduced in April at the Shanghai Auto Show, and leaked photos of the car show hood lines compared to the hatchbacks that align with large glass windows. Currently, production of the Regal for the U.S. is expected to end at GM's Oshawa, Ontario assembly plant this year. The Regal wagon would be Buick's first entry into the segment since production of the Century and Roadmaster ended in the mid-1990s. The next generation Regal could be the last produced by Opel after GM 2 weeks ago agreed to sell the operations along with its Vauxhall unit to French automaker PSA Group for $2.3 billion. And on the recall front, Subaru of America is recalling the redesigned 2017 Impreza in the U.S. for a software problem with the compact car's infotainment unit. The recall covers over 25,560 Imprezas in the U.S., built between September 12, 2016 and February 23, 2017, the company said. Harman International is the infotainment unit supplier. During initial boot up, a memory error might result in a blank screen, or if multiple processes occur at the same time, the screen might freeze, Subaru told U.S. regulators. The glitch may lead to the rearview camera image not displaying properly, increasing the risk of a crash. Subaru will notify owners and dealers, and the dealers will update the infotainment software free of charge. The recall is expected to begin on March 20th. Subaru recalled 3,484 Imprezas for the same issue in Canada. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
We are